The Tab S10 Ultra is the world's biggest mainstream tablet, and it's an interesting release by Samsung. You see, they kept what was good about the previous model. They made one major unexpected change, another one that I was super happy about, and then a few refinements. So let's talk about whether it's worth buying or upgrading to the Tab S10 Ultra, and thank you to Walmart for sponsoring a portion of this video. Now, looking at the size, it's pretty much exactly what we had with the Tab S9 Ultra. It's the same height, the same width, but it's actually 0.1 millimeter thinner this time around, and it weighs 24 grams less. Now, I've had the 9 since it was released and the 10 since before it was released, and while I wouldn't be able to tell the difference in a blindfold test, I still appreciate the slightly slimmer design. Now, something else that I really like that Samsung kept is the IP68 rating for both the tablet and the S Pen, so I still get protection from water and dust. I'm not the most careful person in the world, and I use my tablets on the go. I always have water or electrolytes on my desk, so it's nice to know that my gear is safe. Now, you should also think about whether a bigger device is always better, and my answer is not necessarily. On the one hand, I love the 14.6-inch display, and it's amazing to have a portable device that gives me such a large image when I'm watching movies. I also really appreciate that when I'm multitasking, I have plenty of room for 2 apps side by side. Now, clearly tons of tablets and even some phones give you that functionality, but whether there are always practical applications is another question, and with this size display, it's definitely doable. Now, technically, I could have 3 tiled apps at the same time on the Tab S10 Ultra and then even more pop-up windows, so not really limited, but most of the time I'm using 2 or 3 apps and I never have any issues. I also love the larger size when I use second screen, which is super underrated. So if you don't know, it lets you use the Tab S10 Ultra as an additional display for your Windows desktop or laptop. Now, if you've seen my main workstation in other videos, you know that it has 7 displays because I use it to design and code, but I always want more screen real estate, even if it's just to watch a Netflix movie while I work. So again, being able to wirelessly add the Tab S10 Ultra as a display or to have a dual display setup when I travel with my laptop is such a bonus. Now, the downside of a larger device is that it's bigger and heavier. Now, I always carry my tablet in a backpack, regardless of size. So even with a keyboard case, the size and weight are not really an issue for me. But if you put your tablet in a purse, in a smaller bag, or if you just carry it around in your hand, then I can definitely see how a smaller tablet would be more comfortable. Now, another area where size can become an issue is gaming. So I play a lot of PUBG Mobile, and holding this tablet up for a long period of time is very tiring for my hands, so a lot of times I end up using handles or triggers. Now, if you play with the tablet on a desk or a pillow, then it's not really an issue, and the larger display is actually great because you can easily see smaller movements or someone trying to snipe you from behind a rock. Now, speaking of the display, if you haven't had a chance to see it in real life, it's absolutely incredible. It's a dynamic AMOLED 2X display. It's bright, it has great contrast ratio, we have per pixel control, the blacks are really dark, and it's 120 Hz, so all your animations look smooth, and you can get up to 120 FPS when gaming. The image quality on this display is spectacular, so SDR and HDR content looks amazing, and this might be my favorite tablet to watch movies on. Now, this year, Samsung added a really good anti-reflective coating. If you saw my S24 Ultra Day in the Life video, you know that I love how anti-reflective that display is. So it's great that Samsung made the Tab S10 Ultra easier to use outside or in environments where you might have to deal with reflections. And speaking of being outside brings me to today's sponsor, Walmart, where you can find all your favorite products on walmart.com. So I started playing golf again, and with the cold weather coming, I wanted to find a way to play inside. I ended up picking up a Meta Quest 3 and a few accessories, so now I can spend the next couple of months playing VR golf with my friends. If I need a little energy before an early round, I can quickly whip up an espresso, latte, cappuccino, or an iced coffee with the DeLonghi Magnifica Evo Espresso machine. And when we get a warm day, I love adding a shot of espresso to my chocolate protein ice cream with my Ninja CREAMi Deluxe. Now, I didn't initially think that I would use it, but I use it a ton, so if you've been thinking about getting one, do it. Now, if I make a mess, I found a deal on the Dirt Devil cordless standing stick vacuum. I love how light it is, I'm not messing around with any cords, and it works on different types of floors. And for times when I want a game on a console, there was a discount on the PS5 Slim Edition edition, which loads up super fast and has plenty of power to run all the latest games. Check out Walmart October deals between October 8th and 13th by visiting walmart.com. And thank you to Walmart for sponsoring this portion of the video. Now, I'm super glad that there was no need to get a new keyboard this year because the design is essentially the same. So my book cover keyboard for my Tab S10 Ultra fits perfectly. And if you're upgrading from last year's model, just keep your accessories. Now, if you don't have a keyboard, the new models of the book cover keyboard and the book cover keyboard Slim now have a dedicated AI button. So if all of them are the same price, get the new ones. Now, moving on to stylus, the S Pen is included with the tablet. It has very low latency, it glides very smoothly on the screen, and I like the softer feel when it hits the glass because it's more like writing on a pad of paper where the pages compress as you press down. Now, this is the Bluetooth enabled S Pen, so it comes with all the wireless functions for things like taking photos, media playback, and an Air command with AI, which provides instant access to Galaxy AI assistant features without toggling between menus. And speaking of AI, the Tab S10 Ultra comes with all sorts of Galaxy AI features. So you could do things like circle to search with Google, where you literally just circle anything on your screen and then the Tab S10 Ultra will do a Google search for you and then show you the results. You could use Galaxy AI to do things like get solution to math problems, plus explanations to how the solutions were reached. You can translate documents and websites, you can transcribe and summarize audio files, you can even turn my awful sketches into fun images, and you can select different styles for the images that you want created. Now, this is just a glimpse. There's too much AI to include in a full review, so I'm working on a dedicated video to show you more of Galaxy AI. Now, in terms of the port, it's the same USB-C 3.2 port and 45 watt fast charging that we had last time. We're getting an 11,200 milliamp hour battery, and it's rated for 16 hours of video playback, which is great. Now, for me, battery life has been excellent so far, and I'm finishing up a comparison with this tablet, the Tab S10 Plus, and then the new iPads, and then also a complete day in the life review. So go ahead and subscribe to make sure that you don't miss those. Now, one of the things that's really impressed me over the past few years is how Samsung continues to expand and improve its ecosystem. So now you compare the Tab S10 Ultra with a premium laptop, top-tier phones, a rugged smartwatch, the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro, which might be my favorite earbuds, and on top of that, you can add the Galaxy Ring. So as you add more products, you really start seeing how nicely integrated they are. We've got things like wireless file and link sharing, different continuity features, and even how AI can become more useful with something like integrated live translate on the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro. Now, something else that I think is super underrated about the Tab S10 Ultra is DeX. If you're new to these high-end Samsung tablets, DeX reboots the Tab S10 Ultra and then loads up an OS that is similar to what you'll get on a laptop. It will give you an actual desktop with icons, folders, a taskbar. You can open multiple windows, snap them to half the display, and then even have floating windows. Now, DeX works great with a keyboard case, or you can connect your tablet to an external display and then get a dual display setup with a mouse and an external keyboard. Now, is it as powerful or as capable as an actual laptop? Technically, no. We're still running mobile apps, and there are still some limitations with file sharing, but for most of what I do, it works great as a laptop replacement, where DeX primarily changes the user experience. Now, when we look at performance, Samsung elected to go with the MediaTek Dimensity 9300 Plus, and they're saying that we should expect up to an 18% improvement in CPU performance, 28% in GPU, and then 14% in NPU when we compare it with the Tab S9 Ultra. So here are some quick single and multi-core benchmarks comparing the MediaTek chip to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 and Gen 2. And we can also see how it stacks up as far as GPU performance. Now, personally, the Tab S9 Ultra was already able to do everything that I needed, including gaming. And what I love about this newer tablet is that I have additional headroom in terms of performance, and I know that it will last for longer moving forward. Now, this is even more important now that Samsung is offering 7 years of security and OS updates, which is great news. Now, when we check out the cameras, we're getting a 13 megapixel wide and an 8 megapixel ultra wide on the back. On the front, we have two 12 megapixel cameras, a wide and an ultra wide, and here's a quick sample. Here's a quick test of the camera and microphone, and this should give you a pretty good idea of the type of image quality that you're going to get and the type of audio quality that you should expect. Now, moving on to speakers, these are some of the best speakers that I've heard on any tablet. Now, I pretty much exclusively use headphones, but these would work really well if you want to use them to watch movies or to play games. And speaking of gaming, as I mentioned, I play a lot of mobile games, and the new chip has been able to handle everything that I throw at it, from PUBG to Genshin to Real Racing 3. I've also used my Xbox controller with the Xbox Game Pass app, and I absolutely love playing on this big display. Now let's talk about pricing. So the Tab S10 Ultra starts at $1199 for 256 gigabytes of storage and 12 gigabytes of RAM, which is the same as the Tab S9 Ultra was when it was released. We're also getting a 512 gigabyte model, which also comes with 12 gigabytes of RAM, and then a 1 terabyte model, which comes with 16 gigs. Now, of course, one of the best features of the Tab S10 Ultra is that it has a micro SD card slot, so you can very affordably add up to an additional 1.5 terabyte of internal storage. Now, this is definitely something to keep in mind, and I've used this internal storage for files, for photos, and even to install apps. Now, I love this feature, especially when I compare it with tablets that don't have it, because you can get relatively inexpensive internal storage, and you can also use the micro SD card with other devices. It also means that you don't need to spend all that money right now. You can just buy the tablet, and then when you need additional storage, then you go ahead and buy it. Now you should see how the Tab S10 Ultra matches up with the 13-inch M4 iPad Pro. You know what I always say? Buy it nice or buy it twice.